Okay, so now we're talking about the major market participants. Who is in this market, in the market of Forex, foreign exchange? Who are the participants who play roles in this market? So we'll start, I'll give you a breakdown of all the participants. Now, there are six market participants, but I know if you look clearly, you would see and you would notice that brokers, brokers, they are not in this among these six listed out here. There's a reason for that, because brokers act like um, a body or a middleman to between us who are retail traders and the market. So, but we'll come to that. So first of all, we have the governments. Governments are involved. There are three major players and there are three minors. We have the governments, the central banks, the financial institutes. Then the minors, we have the hedgers, we have the speculators, and we have retail traders. So the governments, they are in this market, therefore, by the means of the policies released, the economic um, policies, the budget plan, the rules, the what do you call it? These rules, the constitutions, yeah. So everything that had to back up as a government for a country, you get, that's how they play a role because the economy of the country is as good, or rather, the currency of the country is as good as the country's economy, right? So as long as it has to do with the country's economy, then this is how the governments play a role. They play a role because they are the body of or the ruling body of the country, right? So the next one we have the central banks. Central banks release they issue notes, they release the currencies, the notes and the coins. They are like the last lenders to resort, or rather, they are lenders of last resort to banks. They are lenders of last resort to government. They lend to government. They ensure stable financial system. They also, within the central bank, they also help control the growth and employment and also macroeconomic. They have macroeconomic, they tend to achieve macroeconomic targets. They set interest rates and also inflation targets. So the central bank play a big role, and nevertheless, they are the ones also one of the biggest, or rather, one of the only um market participants that control the market the most, they are the banks because they release the exchange rates. So if you've heard of rates, these rates were given you by the banks. You get, so they release the exchange rate. They are like one of the biggest participants in the market. Okay. So there are some news that you would see most often times in Forex, like FOMC, NFPs, and CPIs, GDP news and all of that. These are news that had to come from bank. So bank released this news. So if you pay attention to the news events of all this type of news, you would see um, this news being released. And if you go in to read the body of the news, you would most of the time you would see it being linked to economic or being linked to interest rates or being linked to inflation and targeting and all of that, right? So that's how the central bank they play a role in it. The financial institutes are kind of like they provide most of the volume that causes the market to move the way it does. So major holidays is not the best time to trade. So these financial institutes, like all these ones listed here, I'll give you an example. So in my country, if you're a Nigerian and you would see some of the financial institutes listed here, like Western Union, like Glow, like MTN, like MoneyGram. There's MoneyGram, there's Citibank, there's which other one? Um, I think that's about it. But you know what I mean. For example, let's take for example MTN. This is an MTN logo. So MTN logo, they are like they are like, or rather the MTN company, they are like a financial institute that move money around the country. So they also play a role of moving money around in and around the country, all right, because they are like a network company, all right. So yes, so for the hedgers now, hedgers play a role by protecting company from major losses while doing foreign trades. I'll give you an example. If Nigeria wanted to buy a product from China, right? Nigeria don't get to pay for that thing in naira. They have to pay for it in dollars because dollars is kind of like a more stable currency than the naira. What happens when the naira drops before they make the payment? They need to now add up more money. They need to um, pay more money, increase their targets so that they could, get the purchase done. So most of the time, what hedgers do, hedgers are the ones that help you avoid some major losses while doing foreign trades. So they could work for companies, they could work for governments, and all of that. So the speculators now, on the other hand, they are sophisticated risk takers. They speculate the market. They get to analyze this market. And in where you have a more volatile market, that's where they could even go to analyze and take a position. All right. So they're like more like people who investors come to. You get people who investors come to be able to trade the financial market. So they are sophisticated risk takers, risk-taking investors with expertise in the market with in which they are trading. So he said they attempt to predict price changes in more volatile sections of the market, believing or speculating. Remember this word, I said it. Speculating that a high profit will occur even in a market, even if the market indicators may suggest otherwise. So this is how speculators um, play a role in the market. Then last and final but not the least. So retail traders, retail investors. You and I and every other person who's trading forex trading with the help of a broker is, or rather falls under this group called the retail investors. You and me, only 20% of the market movement. We only move 20% of the market. Thanks to internet today, we can play in the market. We can be a part of the market. So broker come in as a body that helps us play a part of this market. So without the brokers, we don't have things like what they call a leverage. We don't have the capital to even trade the major market like the way the banks do, the way the governments do, the way the financial institute do. So that is how that works. So I hope this video was very educative to you, and I hope you learned a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.